Alright, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to, well, simple question. Do we take IFHE or do we not take IFHE? Now, I'll just give you a quick heads up. I will try to make this as short and as informative as I can, and in the same time try to explain to you by showing you some values why. But I do hope to go through this very, very quickly, because I do have some sort of a cold or some crap and I'm feeling pretty meh. So if you do hear me cough and all that stuff, and if my voice is different, I apologize. I'm not even using the cam because I look like shit. Anyway, let's get into it. IFHE change has happened. I'm not going to go into details. I already made a video about that on how the whole thing works. But the most often question that I get in the past couple of days, and I've been meaning to do this video and I just simply can't get the time, is 100mm gun, IFHE yes or no, 113, 127, 152, Mogami's 155, 180s, 220s, blah blah blah. So I'm gonna tell you right now, really quickly, really shortly, should you take IFHE on all the ships pretty much that you've been using IFHE till now? Or no? My answer, yes. Now, before I explain to you why, and go into detail, because it's not 100% yes, you are not going to make a mistake whether you do decide to take IFHE or not, because they have, Wargaming has generally increased the pen on pretty much all of these guns, so even without IFHE you will still be able to combat at least half of the enemy team. But you might struggle with the other half if you don't have IFHE, and in some cases even with IFHE you might struggle. Now the only reason is, are you gonna struggle because your fire chance is gonna be totally crap, or are you gonna struggle because you simply cannot pen? So let's start with simple things. Harugumo, 100mm guns. My captain, as you can see, does have IFHE skill, and if you go to artillery, put here, you can see the pen somewhere around here. It says 37mm. Without IFHE, I'm able to pen 31. Why did I take IFHE? To cross that threshold, which is 32mm. Now, unfortunately for Harugumo, and very fortunately for everyone else, if you do take IFHE, you don't get 38mm, you get 32. 32 is still enough to cross the threshold to be doing... It opens up opportunities for you which otherwise you wouldn't have. I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean. But let's keep it simple for now. 37mm instead of 31. In my book, yes. The fire chance is only 3.5%, and this is without Demo Expert. If you want, you can ditch HP or a bit of DACA, and you can go for Demo Expert to put that back up to 5.5, I believe. And previously, I think Harugumo had like 7. So, yeah. It's a couple of percent lower, but I still got some fires. It's not that bad, but it opens up the option to actually shoot. Next, Daring is probably the only ship that's a total no-brainer, no IFHE. This is probably the only ship that does not need IFHE, because without IFHE you pen 19, with IFHE you pen something like up to 24. You don't cross the 25mm threshold, which means it brings you nothing. You are wasting 4 skill points. I think Gearing has a bit of extra side plating, but if he's giving you side, you shoot AP anyway. So you have 19mm of penetration, and that's enough. You can pen pretty much everything that you need with HE as a destroyer. For anything else, you got torpedoes and AP. So you might be asking yourself, okay, so I just freed up 4 points if you were using IFHE like I did before. What I'm using right now is the same build as before. I just ditched IFHE and I'm using RPF. RPF is something that was really missing on Daring, It's a great destroyer, but because of its poor concealment, yeah. At least this way you know where you are detected from, so it's a very valuable skill. Of course, if you do feel like you can continue playing without IFHE and you don't find it that valuable, I would suggest you either go for BFT or better torpedo reload. It's like guns or torps. Increase one of these two and then maybe take priority target. You can also go demo expert if you want. It's really up to you, but it's a no-brainer. IFHE does not bring you anything. This is a straight up buff to daring. Moving along. What else do we have? 1 second. I put a whole bunch of ships here because some of them are going to be showing you as an example. Cleveland, 152 millimeters. Same deal as Harugumo. With IFHE 37, without 31. I take IFHE so that I can cross that 32 millimeter threshold. And the armor, the fire chance is 8.5. It's bad, but hey. That's my recommendation. I'm telling you, if you do decide to not take IFHE, you're not exactly making a mistake. You're just going to be shattering battleships of high tiers. A lot more than you will without. So you're pretty much all up to RNG. You better pray to that RNG god if you go without IFHE that you get some really nice fires and that they stick. Because if they don't, well, then your damage is not going to be that good. And knowing my RNG, I don't want to give anything more to it a chance than I have to, so I am going with IFHE. Massachusetts published a video, well, today, for you it's going to be yesterday, with IFHE 26 mil, without IFHE I believe it's 21. So I tried both. Truth be told, I only tried one game, but without IFHE, your secondaries are simply not going to be penning anything. That's the problem. Unless we're talking about destroyers, which are like 19 mil, your secondaries are pretty much worthless. You're depending on fires which they can extinguish, and God knows how many of these fires will actually happen. If you do take IFHE, you pump it up to 26. Now this number is very important. It's not 25, it's 26. You cross the 25 millimeter threshold, and considering this is a tier 8, you cross that very rare 26 millimeter threshold, which I will show you later. If you're top tier with IFHE, you are a damage output god. Without it, not so much. I will explain in detail more. Seattle, which caliber of guns do you have? 152, we pretty much already explained that. 31 or 37. You crossed the 32 threshold, so I went for it. Now, up for debate are going to be a couple of ships, and that's going to be Georgia, Ohio, Henry, and Goliath. Like, I'm really not sure what to tell you about these ships, because it's really going to be individual. It's going to be up to you. You may be wondering why Georgia and Ohio. When you took Massa, they got same secondaries. Yes, 26 millimeter penetration on secondaries is very nice in tier 8, but it loses its value the higher you go. We'll talk about it. Worcester, I believe same caliber, 152. Once again, same deal. Kutuzov, we already we already went through 152, so it's 37. And 130 millimeter guns, which is Smolensk. I am using IFHE. I get to pen 27 millimeter with Smolensk, and without it you pen like 22, something like that. So without IFHE, you're pretty much not gonna be penning anything that's not superstructure on pretty much any ship in the game, in the tier that you meet. If you do have IFHE, you push it over 2 thresholds, 25 and 27, and that is very important if you go up against cruisers, because if they push you and you can only do damage to their superstructure, you're not very effective, plus it's gonna get saturated. If they're pushing you or if they're running away from you and you can shoot their superstructure and their bows, and a lot of bows are now 27 millimeter, some are still 25, but some are 27, you can pen. So if he's charging you, you can shoot the nose, you can shoot the superstructure, you do a lot more damage, plus you still have a fire chance, which is 7%. Not too bad. I still had like 10 fires in my game. So, there was one more. Colbert, yes. Colbert is one of the more merde ones. It's 26 millimeter on its main batteries. It's just like Massachusetts, and it's a tier 10. Thing is, I still went with IFHE because without 21 millimeter, it's superstructure or go home. With 26, at least it opens up a bit of options. Henry, I do believe people used to take IFHE on this so they can cross 50 millimeter armor, that some of the Russian ships have it. And with this you get exactly 50 millimeter, and now 50 millimeter is what you pen. So I don't play really much Henry, but if that's what you want, then go for it. However, be prepared to drastically lose that fire chance. It's now down to 15%, and that is with Demo Expert. And come on, game, don't do this to me. I'm trying to make this short. Come on. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? Game? No. No, 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 no. No. Good God. I've never even been there. That is with fire flags, and that is with Demo Expert. So, you have to make your own decision. Do you prefer more fires? Because you may be thinking, well, 15 seconds is not that bad. All these other light cruisers have a lot less, half less. That's true, but they shoot 5 times faster than you. So once you fire your guns every 11.5 seconds, do you want to be able to have a decent chance of a fire, like 30%? Or do you want to have a pretty poopy fire chance of merely 15%? But with 50 millimeter, you get to pen some battleships, you get to pen some super heavy cruisers. Up to you. And finally, oh god, my brain's just mush. Did I even put it here? No, I probably did not. Okay, 10, cruiser, British, go. Okay, now I have to find it. Yeah, chief, only I clicked. Here we go. Goliath, 73 millimeter armor penetration with the IFHE. I believe that's enough to even go through Smolensk side armor. And I think that's one of the reasons most people actually went for IFHE. But 14% fire chance, and that is without Demo Expert, but I think with flags. Yes. To put it very, very simple for you right now, if you made it this far into the video, I put IFHE on, for now, this can change. I put IFHE on everything that I've put IFHE on before the change. The only difference is daring. Daring is an absolute no to IFHE. Everything is a yes. I personally prefer more pen instead of fire chance, which is pretty bad for me anyway. And very often people just repair it and then I can't set the fire again, or someone else sets it, or they go stealth and I just don't get the fire damage very often. So yeah, with my luck, I decided it's just a no-go, but with your luck, maybe it's better to have fire chance. So, like, for myself personally, besides daring, yes to IFHE everywhere, but you have to keep one thing in mind. The higher the caliber guns, the more fire chance you're gonna lose with IFHE, because you lose 50% of fire chance. The bigger the caliber, the bigger the fire chance, the slower the reload. So 50% fire chance reduction when you take IFHE takes bigger portion of that fire chance. So for a ship like Harugumo that has like 6, 7, you only lose a couple of percent, and you can kind of pump it up with some flags and Demo Expert and stuff. You don't lose that much, but you get that 32 millimeter threshold. With ships like Goliath, oh boy, you do lose a lot of fire chance. So your call. Now I'm gonna spend a couple of minutes to show you exactly why it is important to be able to cross these thresholds, 25, 27, and 32 that we talked about. And we forgot about one, 38. That one's unique. So there's this badass cruiser, old dog from the beta. That's not nearly as badass as it used to be. But this thing, without IFHE, penetrates 31 millimeter of armor. If you put IFHE, my dude, this thing suddenly not only crosses 32mm threshold, but you cross 38mm threshold. This thing has more punch in its guns than any other cruiser, pretty much. The ones you're gonna be taking at least IFHE on. So you can pen those 38mm decks, which is which is awesome. You can pen their noses, which is awesome, and you can pen their, of course, superstructure. You can pretty much pen most stuff you're gonna meet all the way to tier 10 included, because you can pen 38mm. So absolute yes. However, far chance is absolute dog shit. 7.5% with demo expert, and okay, 8%, and with flags. So yeah, make your. Oh, it's still 7.5. Make your decision, because I just demounted the other flag by putting on this one. You gotta be joking. Okay, one day I'm gonna be really fast in these videos. I really try to make them as informative as I can and as fast as I can, so I don't trouble you too much with numbers and stuff and information. But this is the bare minimum. So these are my decisions. Now let me tell you why. If we go to, for example, Massachusetts, you take IFHE on your secondaries. You pen 26mm. This is absolutely amazing 26mm. Now let me show you why. If you go to ships like, well, now I need to find this. Tier 6 battleships. Okay, not Bayern, not Fuso. I want New Mexico. Look at this. Let's go to armor scheme. Look at this. 26mm bow, 26mm deck, 26mm side armor, 26mm everywhere. That's not turrets, and superstructure is even less. You can absolutely destroy some tier 6 battleships, because a lot of them actually have 26mm armor. Now, some of them are a bit more reinforced on some sections, like Fuso. You have 26mm bow and deck on the nose, and you have 26mm on the side, like torpedo protection, and then on the ass as well. But if you go for the middle section from afar, it's 35, so you won't be able to pen that. But everything that hits this plate, or if he's bowing or stern, you will be penning him. And one of the most tough ones, if I could find it, Bayern, is even more armored. 30 and then bunch of stuff, and then the deck here is 30 and 40, but at least the nose and stern do have sections that are 26 exactly. So if he's charging at you, and your secondaries will at least be doing some damage to him here. So if you're top tier, tier 6 battleships should be scared shitless of getting close to you, because you will be doing so much damage to them with your secondaries that in combination with your firepower from the main guns, you're just gonna be, you should be destroying these. And I think yesterday's video, if you're watching this, on the day that it's out, which should be Wednesday, you should see it perfectly. Go watch the video. It's absolute domination. However, if we move to, I didn't put any tier 7s, did I? Okay, hold on. Let me put some tier 7s. Like Nagato. Look at that. 26mm, 26mm, 26mm. Huh? Tier 7 battleships get pooped on. Ashitaka. Look at that. 26, 26, 26. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Colorado. Oh, very tanky, Mr. Colorado. Go home. Then we get to the Russian Sinop. You do still have 26mm. The entire deck is 26mm. Really, game? Oh my god. This is very nice. Thank you for doing this in the middle of my video. I very much appreciate it. Thank you, Wargaming. Love you too. I can still continue to talk while we wait for this to maybe decide to connect us. So, tier 6 and tier 7 battleships, a lot of them have that 26mm armor. You will be destroying them. When it comes to tier 8, 9, and 10 battleships, your secondaries can only pretty much do damage to their superstructure. But they're still cruisers. There's a bunch of cruisers there with 25, or even less if you're top tier, millimeters armor, and you will be absolutely destroying them as well. And I don't even have to tell you about DDs. DDs are gonna get pooped on whether you have IFHE or not. But for me, Massa is IFHE absolute yes. You destroy lower tier battleships. You can still do some damage to same or higher tier battleships because you have secondaries that are going to be hitting the superstructure. You're shitting on DDs, and there's a whole bunch of cruisers you can destroy. Now this is where the tricky part comes. You have exactly the same secondaries on a tier 9 and a tier 10. Georgia and Ohio. You don't meet tier 6 and 7 battleships in a tier 8, in a tier 10. And there's a good chance that most of your games you won't have them even in your tier 9. So you're gonna be mostly meeting tier 8, 9, and 10, which is where these secondaries lose a lot of their potential, lose a lot of their strength, because they don't pen 27, and the threshold for a lot of cruisers is gonna be 27. There are a bunch of them with 25mm sections, so yes, it's still a viable option, but far less so than it is on Massachusetts. So my suggestion, Massa with IFHE is a no-brainer. However, you gotta make up your own mind for Georgia and especially Ohio. Those secondaries are very nice to have, and I don't really see that big of a point to play those ships without them, because that's the natural strength that they have. But yeah, you gotta make up your mind. I personally will probably go with IFHE all the way. Now, if this bloody game would work, I would show you a bunch of cruisers that have 25 and 27mm armors, and where and how you could actually do that whole thing, but I guess the game just will not allow me to do that, because this of course had to happen from the entire day when I was making my video, and I do not intend to make the entire video again. Hello? But anyway, if you don't believe me or you want to check it out for yourself, go check cruisers like Baltimore, which are like heavy cruisers, and then go check cruisers like Worcester, like Colbert, like Smolensk, Minotaur, Mogamis, Ibukis, Zaos. You will find a lot of cruisers with 25 and 27. You can't, of course, expect to remember all of this stuff, and it's not like I know all of this stuff. I'm only getting into all of these plates anyway, but my suggestion, give it a try. Dude, if you respect your captain, just make it a, I don't know, 15-point captain, and don't take IFHE and leave the last 4 for IFHE. You're going to be playing without IFHE, you will see that that's great for you, or that's absolute bullshit, and you're going to decide, fuck it, I'm going to take IFHE, or you're going to take something else. You can't really make a mistake, whatever you decide, but I personally, I'm rocking IFHE all the way. Now, one last thing. I will be leaving 2 links in the video description. One is for Little White Mouse. She's a community contributor. She's absolutely amazing, and she has, well, I can actually show you while this piece of crap won't work. She has made an entire post where she takes everything into bits and pieces and explains to you each ship's, each gun's, should you take it, should you not. Now, be aware, like for example, 130 not recommended, 127 not recommended. Me and her do not necessarily need to agree on everything, but this will help a lot of you. Like I said, you do not, although this is destroyers, right? Yeah, okay then. We don't actually probably have everything exactly the same figured out, but like I said, you can't really make a mistake. Just make up your mind. What do you want to go for? I will leave this link down below so you can check it out for yourself. All the cruisers, all the battleships, all the DDs, what is her recommendation and not. And I will also leave a link to StatsBloke's video where he basically tries to explain everything to you. Oh, here we go. During the video, just like mine, just a lot better. Okay, so since this actually decided to work, let me just show you a couple of cruisers and then we'll call it. Reset. Okay, Mogami's armor. 25. Alright? But then everything else is pretty much 27. So, bow and stern with 25mm pen, Mogami, poo-poo. If he gives you broadside, you're just gonna kill him with guns anyway. Atago. Look at that, 25mm, but then you can forget about it everywhere else. Oh, even the turrets are 25. 27 side, 27 side. So, you cross that 25mm threshold with those 127s. Zal. Tier 10. Look at that, 25mm. If he's bow tanking you and you got secondaries and he's in range, you might actually be doing some damage there. Yoshino, a tier 10 like a battle cruiser, still 25mm armor. Plus, I'm not even showing you superstructure, it's always 16 or something like that. Baltimore, this is like a heavy cruiser, now he gets 27, and he gets 27 pretty much everywhere. So you can forget about penning this thing anywhere that's not superstructure with your 26mm penetration secondaries. Cleveland, which is a light cruiser on the other hand, look at that. 25mm side everywhere. Seattle, light cruiser, 25, 25, 27 on the deck, 25 nose. Still plenty of places to penetrate. Des Moines, my beautiful baby, got actually buffed a bit. 27mm bow, 30mm side. So all of those things that actually cross 27mm threshold will not be able to pen Des Moines here. Just the nose. Did we already go through the Worcester? 25, 25, yeah. Puerto Rico, a battle cruiser. 27, 27. And 30 on the side, and then 38 deck. Mogami destroys it everywhere. You can pen this thing everywhere with Mogami. For example, if you take IFHE. Kutuzov, 25, 25, and then reinforced deck with 27. Moskva, one of the sturdiest ones, still has the 25mm bow pieces. Of course, most of the stuff you won't be able to penetrate. But Henry, with IFHE, penetrates 50mm. This is why you can go for Henry IFHE if you want to. Smolensk is a super light cruiser, 16mm. You can pen this thing with Destroyer HE, even without IFHE, no problem. It's like a DD plating, so yeah. Goliath, one of the tankiest cruisers in the game, still 25mm. So this is why I still recommend taking IFHE on those 127s, because without, you are desperate. You can only do damage to superstructure. If you can't pen that superstructure, you are absolutely screwed. And that's it. I really hope this was helpful. This is actually half an hour video. God damn it, I wanted to make it like a 10-minute. I'm even talking fast, and I'm really trying to cover everything as fast, and I really hope I didn't lose you too much throughout this video, throughout this explanation, but it's not that hard. You just go to your guns, artillery, put a mouse here, you will see HE shell armor penetration capacity. If you don't, just move the captain away, just send it to reserve, and you will see that it's like 21. You put it with IFHE, you will see it's 26. Go through various different ships that you're interested, put the armor layout, put the mouse on, and you'll see what you can pen and what you can't, with and without. It's really not that hard. You just have to find a bit of time. In short, yes. IFHE, yes. I don't care about fire chance that much. I go for straight up damage. That's me. You can be absolutely different. And if you don't think that this was useful, or you disagree, you are more than welcome to leave a comment and explaining to myself, yourself, and others, I guess, who want to know why. But this is my opinion. This is how I will spec my captains. This is not set in stone. I might be changing some things throughout upcoming days, but pretty much I like the pen. I liked it before IFHE nerf, buff, I don't even know how to call it. And I like it after, and I'm gonna be using it. Thank you for watching. Like, dislike, comment, share, and all that stuff. It really helps a lot. Now I'm gonna go back to bed because I'm sick. But I really wanted to do this for you for a couple of days, and I've just been postponing. But I figured I'm not gonna get any better in a day or two, so I better do it while I still can. Thank you for watching. Have a good night, and I'll see you probably on the stream tomorrow, which is for you today, because I think we got credited some Russian cruisers. So have a good day.